92.9 The Lake playing the greatest hits of all time. We have a special guest here with us, KPLC Meteorologist Grant Roberts. What's up, man?
Hey, thanks for having me. It's a pretty rainy day out here.
Yeah, thanks for stopping by, man. I know you got to be a tired dude.
It's definitely been a little exhausting with Barry. It's definitely been a little bit of a headache, and yeah, we've been working a whole lot, but luckily it's starting to move away, even though we're feeling the effects now, but we're on the downside now.
Right, and before we get into it, Grant, I want to say screw Georgia and their hurricane, and we'll get our retribution come football season when Drew Brees hangs 56 on the Dirty Birds twice in a season.
Yes, most definitely. And you know the Saints are out to prove something.
Yeah.
So you know Drew Brees, he's a little mad about Patrick Mahomes winning MVP last year. You know he's going to be out to prove something. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, and now we got a little more fuel to the fire with them sending that storm our way.
Absolutely.
Like, obviously, I mean, I don't know if I've ever heard about this. I mean, you're in the field, so you probably heard about this. How crazy is it that a storm starts on land, comes into the Gulf, and creates a hurricane?
It's really odd. It's happened once or twice, but I mean, you look at the typical storm, it always comes from the water and then just continues to strengthen. It doesn't come from land. And so this was definitely odd. It almost made a complete circle, starting around in the Tennessee Valley, going through Georgia, through Florida, and then out to the Gulf of Mexico, then developing. And then now it's making its way back up through Arkansas and back toward around Tennessee. So it's making that complete circle. It's very odd and makes it a little harder to forecast exactly.
And even though you said it started in Tennessee, I'm still going to give that storm to Georgia.
Absolutely.
Because obviously we hate it.
I mean, it started basically right at the border between Tennessee and Georgia. So yeah, it came from Georgia.
Now let's talk about the effects of Barry. Now, a lot of people on Facebook were saying, "Where's Barry? What's up with this? Ha ha ha!" Right?
Absolutely,
and then today or last night, we get all of these pretty violent storms coming through Southwest Louisiana, dumping torrential rain. What's up with that?
Like I mentioned, it was hard to forecast. Basically, from the beginning, there was already just such disorganization where you had the center of rotation, and then all of the rain was to the south. Now that the center rotation's moved up to the north, it's slowly bringing in all of those rain bands. So we're feeling the effects now, even though the storm itself is long gone. So it's one of those odd scenarios where no tropical systems are the same. This one is definitely one of those more odd scenarios.
Right. What kind of rainfall are we looking at across Southwest Louisiana inch-wise?
So far, we've seen about 6 to 10 inches in a few areas where we've had those rain bands set up. Other areas seeing close to about 2 or 3 inches. But there's no way to really predict where those rain bands are setting up. And we're going to see more of those throughout today. But I'd say by tomorrow, certainly by Wednesday, they will be gone.
Right, and then when it was in the Gulf, it was an extremely slow storm, sometimes moving 3 miles an hour. Mm-hmm. It seemed like it picked up a whole bunch of speed when it hit the land, and it was gone before we knew it.
I was talking to Ben Terry, the other meteorologist, and when it got to 9 miles an hour, it's just like, we could almost walk that speed, and this is the fastest it's ever moved.
Right.
And I think a lot of that was because it was fighting with some dry air to the north around Arkansas, Missouri, and northern Mississippi. So that was basically fighting off the rain early for us. But then once the storm was starting to move off, the dry air was starting to weaken a little bit. And now we're starting to see the rain now that the dry air is gone. So once that fight kind of came to an end, we were done.
Right. We got all the road closures at our website, 929thelake.com. Also, videos and photos all across the state of the flooding that's going on right now. We're going to talk about our neighbors to the east coming up in about 12 minutes. Grant's cool enough to stay here with us. We're talking about KPLC meteorologist Grant Roberts. In about 12 minutes, we're going to talk about what's going on in Lafayette, Baton Rouge. Beaumont's fine. You guys in Beaumont are cool.
Yeah, I think they're okay.
And over in New Orleans. We're going to talk about that in 12 minutes right here on 92.9 The Lake. 92.9 The Lake playing the greatest hits of all time. KPLC meteorologist Grant Roberts still here with us. We're talking about Hurricane Barry. Now, Hurricane Barry kind of made you guys kind of work on this one because it wasn't your I guess, cookie cutter storm. It was breaking molds.
It really was. It was not your typical storm, and it was really taking its time, and so we were really trying to figure out where exactly Barry was going to make landfall, and then that would determine the effects here in southwest Louisiana or off to the east, and then also the strength of the storm. It really took its time. It was only moving 3 miles an hour at times, and it strengthened right at the last minute before making landfall as a hurricane, Category 1. But then once it did make landfall, it just quickly weakened back down. But it was definitely a tricky forecast, that's for sure.
Right, and then I guess like a day or so before the landfall, we were looking at the National Hurricane Center rainfall graph, and we were seeing 15 to 20 inches in New Orleans, and then that shifted over to Baton Rouge. How are our neighbors to the east doing? Lafayette, Baton Rouge, NOLA?
So far, they've been doing okay. I mean, Lafayette has been getting more of the brunt in the storm. Same with Baton Rouge. New Orleans is actually doing just fine. They're not seeing as much rain. If you remember back to last week, they saw more of that outflow with this really disorganized storm close to around Thursday or Friday. And so they saw a lot of the rain early. But now the storm itself has moved to the north. Then New Orleans is not seeing as much, but Baton Rouge, especially Lafayette today, they're seeing a lot more of those showers and even a few thunderstorms. I was watching even yesterday, it was like the border between Mississippi and Louisiana, so like northern part of southeast Louisiana, they were having tornado warnings, severe thunderstorm warnings, so it was definitely an active day near Baton Rouge.
Right, so the latest track of Barry is at our website right now, 929thelake.com. Almost to Arkansas, getting ready to hit Arkansas with that torrential rain. Now, what does this mean for the Mississippi River and our friends over in Baton Rouge? Because obviously the Mississippi River has been in flood stage for a historical amount of time right now. What's all that rain going to do to the Mississippi?
It's definitely going to really have it rise a little bit more. It was forecast to get up to, I believe, 19 feet. And if I remember correctly, it has not gotten to 20 feet since 1950.
Wow.
So it's been years, and this is a bit of a historic moment. And depending on how much rain we really get, even up around Tennessee and Arkansas, all of that rain will eventually flow down the Mississippi toward Baton Rouge and New Orleans. So even though like we're not seeing as much rain there now, this storm is not over, so it's going to continue to bring more of that rainfall, and hopefully it does not get up to 20 feet. If it stays at 19, that's where the levees are, and we should be okay over there. But if it gets over 19, then that could cause a lot of flooding.
Yeah, I was watching the Weather Channel, and across the Mississippi in Baton Rouge, they have this big lettering that says Baton Rouge. And even before the storm got there, the water was almost on top of that sign.
Oh, yeah.
And that was almost up to like where people can walk along the side of the Mississippi. So, boy, I tell you what, we'll just have to wait and see on that. Hopefully, just like everything else, it works out to our favor. Mm-hmm. But we're talking about KPLC Meteorologist Grant Roberts. Thank you for coming in, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me. And just stay safe out there today with all the rain, especially if you're traveling anywhere across Louisiana or up to the north. It's we still have a lot of rain, but yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, you guys did a great job, man. Not only did you break in the programming, but you also extended your coverage on your Facebook page, and that was really helpful, not only for me, because obviously I need information to disseminate to our listeners as well, and you guys are a huge source for that. But also just for people out that are worried, because obviously it's a Hurricane 1, but you never know,
right?
And people get worried, and they definitely want to seek out information. And you guys did an awesome job on that. You'll continue to do that this whole hurricane season. So I appreciate what you guys are doing, man.
That's what we're here for. We always want to keep everyone up to date, even if it's no major changes. We still want to let you know to keep you safe.
Right. Where can people follow you on social media?
I'm on Facebook, Grant Roberts KPLC, and then you can also follow me on Twitter. And you can always just, go to our website as well. We always post our blog on there, and we can keep that updated. So if you just go to kplctv.com, then you have the weather tab. You'll be able to see our story. We'll talk in depth about whatever's happening either that day, if it's a typical summertime day, or if we have something more like this with Barry or any tropical system. We'll go in depth about it and keep you up to date.
Right. Make sure you follow them on Facebook and Twitter. Also, download that KPLC weather app. That will definitely keep you in the know with Southwest Louisiana weather as well. Grant Roberts, you are the man. Thank you for stopping by, brother.
And thanks for having me.